All right, so I just watched The Heretic last night. So this is straight off the bat like a really controversial film. Like if you're religious, just be aware that it's going to touch on very sensitive topics within religion. So yeah, straight off the bat, it's a very controversial film, and I can imagine like a lot of very religious people will not particularly like this film, and it's quite brave writing from whoever the scriptwriter was. So, yeah, straight off the bat, very controversial. So, just to get that off my chest. So, but I yeah really enjoyed this film. It's a very thought provoking film. So basically, the film follows a plot between two I think two Mormon girls who try to convert people by going from house to house. And yeah, straight off the bat, you know these girls are quite innocent. They're quite religious. They're really into Mormonism, and so they go from house to house, and they eventually come across this house. It seems to be in the middle of nowhere, and Hugh Grant is obviously the owner of this house, or lives in this house. And yeah, straight off the bat, it's like kind of he does give off creepy vibes at the beginning, but he's very charming at the beginning. He's very well spoken. It's like he's creepy, but like he knows how to like. It's almost like he's adjusted to speaking to people. He knows how to speak to people to charm them, etc. So he's a bit of a psychopath, essentially. And so, yeah, at the beginning of the film, it's just a general chat about religion. The whole film is basically like a tense build up. And I've heard Tarantino talk about his other films. It's like almost an elastic band, like you're slowly stretching, you're kind of feeling how much tension can I put before this band breaks? Which, as an audience or viewer, you're kind of intrigued to see how far does this elastic band go before it breaks, and that's kind of analogous of the tension that's building up. So he's constantly building up to these questions or these statements that he provides to the girls. And so, yeah, it kind of builds up. So I think one of the first questions is like, "Are you into polygamy?" Which straight off the bat, it's when you're asking two young girls these questions, it's kind of yeah a bit unnecessary, a bit rude to be honest, to ask these questions in front of teenage girls. And so that's the first question. It kind of slowly builds up in terms of, and also as the tension builds up, the girls slowly find out that this guy is yeah like not right in the heads. So they constantly ask about his wife, where's his wife, and then he says, oh, she's making blueberry pie or something. So it's like suspense in terms of Hugh Grant asking these very controversial questions, and the girls just slowly finding out this guy is just a complete freak or weirdo. And it took me in directions that I didn't really expect, really. So yeah, as the maybe it's kind of analogous to Dante's Inferno, where they keep going deeper underground in his home, where it's like it constantly gets more messed up. And yeah, the deeper down they go, the more controversial it gets, the more like weird and messed up it gets. I won't obviously give away the spoilers, but one of the most interesting scenes I really enjoyed watching was the Monopoly scene. So uh, yeah, it's yeah. If you've seen it, obviously you know about it. But he describes religion, he compares it to Monopoly, essentially, and it's quite brave script writing to be honest, because it's gonna obviously yeah gonna probably cause a lot of arguments with the script writer and a lot of religious fanatics. But he compares religion to Monopoly, whereas like he's saying that the original Monopoly, there are lots of versions of Monopoly out there. So one of the oldest versions to the newest versions, maybe that's Star Wars, or in this film it's Bob Ross or Simpsons Monopoly. And he's saying religion is analogous to all these versions of different versions of Monopoly, where you're slightly changing the design or the marketing, etc. But he's saying essentially religion's all kind of the same thing, same as Monopoly. Monopoly all derived from one original version, and all the versions after that are just iterations or slight changes, slight redesigns, slight different marketing from that point of view. So yeah, so that was one of the most thought-provoking, interesting scenes that I thought. from that theology perspective. And so, yeah, essentially from then on, it kind of just gets messed up. It took me in directions that I didn't expect, so I won't give away the spoilers, but it was kind of, yeah, really fascinating, kind of, yeah, very horror-esque towards the end. But it was a really great watch, and I would recommend people watching it if they fancy a horror or something suspenseful. Last night I just fancied something watching kind of weird and messed up, so I just picked Heretic. So if you're in the mood for it, this is a really great watch if you want to watch something weird and thought-provoking. So overall, I'd give this film like a solid like 8 out of 10. Like it's a really good watch, very thought provoking, really weird if you're into that stuff. I'm into that some stuff sometimes, very suspenseful, but yeah, really enjoyable watch. Yeah, 8 out of 10.